and welcome to a brand new Oxfordshire sports show called OxSports Unleashed, where we're going to unleash different sports to you on a regular basis over the coming months through the autumn and winter. Looking to promote any sports within our county, and we will talk a little bit more about that as we go through tonight's programme. But my co-host, K-Dog, welcome. What's your thoughts on how we're going to go about the next few weeks?
It's really exciting, Woodsy, isn't it? It's something that I think Oxfordshire has been missing. We've had lots of really good engagement over the last couple of days, couple of weeks actually, since we started. The plan is to try and bring to you in Oxfordshire coverage of sports that maybe don't get the coverage that they deserve, grassroots sports particularly. We will be covering National League football as well and all the top cricket, but yeah, it's your show, Oxfordshire. It's a show where hopefully we can showcase all that is good about Oxfordshire sport.
Yeah, great intro, K-Dog, into the new programme. We're going to go straight into a regular feature of last week, next week, with Messrs Ride and Lock, and this will give a brief outline of last week's results and looking ahead to this weekend's fixtures.
I'm good, Darryl. As are Oxford United fans, after United won 3-0 away at Fleetwood Town, win that sees the U's push up to third place in League Division 1. Goals from Mills, Bowden and Edwards set up the result, which pleased everyone, including BBC Radio Oxford Jerome. So that's because Fleetwood failing to score meant the PA at Fleetwood didn't play out the Captain Pugwash theme tune, which they play out every time Fleetwood Town score a goal. And Patrick Lock, you suffered this, didn't you? Because Fleetwood Town knocked Oxford City out of the Cup last year, and you had to suffer the indignity of Captain Pugwash haunting you all the way back down the motorways.
Yeah, to be honest, I didn't think it was going to annoy me until we got up there and they scored their second and third goals. And actually, it is very irritating by that point. But thankfully, it was only a day we conceded 3. And imagine if you go up there and concede 6 or 7. I mean, yeah, I think you'll be tearing your hair out by the end of it. But yes, good for Oxford United not to hear that this weekend.
So Oxford United put 3 goals in the back of the net. Oxford City fought out a goalless draw at home. Now then, I've got a bone to pick with you, Patrick, because I was at the same game as you, and I didn't think it was anything but a bore draw, but you only gave it 1 star in the National Non-League paper. Explain yourself, young man.
Yeah, it's always the issue with the non-league paper is that you write it how you see it, and there's always going to be people that see it differently. And I mean, obviously, I'm not saying that I'm right, and obviously, people see a game differently. Everyone does. And the amount of times I read the non-league paper after a game that we've played away, and the away reporter has done it, and you think, actually, that's a harsh rating for this person, that's a harsh rating for that person, and maybe the report's a little bit biased here, a little bit biased there. So, yeah, I just think the lack of clear goal scoring opportunities kind of warranted a lower rating. And although obviously Chris Haig made 2 outstanding saves, really, especially the one at the end, which was absolutely incredible. I did think that 0-0 was probably a fair result, and the lack of clear-cut chances, unfortunately, made me give it a 1 star.
So not many other league games around locally on Saturday afternoon, because 2 other local teams, they were in FA Cup qualifying round action. 1 good result, 1 bad result, Patrick.
Yeah, and we'll start with the bad result, actually. And Banbury United suffered something of a shock exit from the FA Cup at the hands of Nantwich Town, who are 2 leagues below them, and they lost 2-1 at the Swansway Stadium. Therefore, I took the lead against Banbury after 9 minutes. Troy Bourne heading home a free kick, and doubled the lead in the 83rd minute when Byron Harrison scored for the hosts. Banbury did get a goal back through Troy Bourne as well, actually, who scored at both ends, but that wasn't enough to spark a late comeback. So Banbury United exit the Cup early this season. Didcot Town, however, have progressed in the FA Cup to the 3rd qualifying round. They saw off Bristol Manor Farm at the Luke Meadows Stadium. Robbie Gallagher gave the Railway Men the lead with 12 minutes to go, and in the 94th minute, I think it was, Cameron McNeil made sure of the result. Always something you see in the FA Cup, isn't it? A late goal when the opposition are piling men forward. So a good result for them, and actually definitely a good result for them because their reward is probably the biggest tie that they could have got in the third qualifying round of the FA Cup, with a trip to Yeovil Town. Of course, a side that have very recently been in the EFL, and had a quick look actually before recording this, and it was actually only 2013-14, so only a decade ago that they had their one season in the Championship. So, yeah, quite a scout for Didcot to get them, and yeah, it just really show actually how much Yeovil have fallen in the last 10 years. But yeah, a good day for them. But yeah, 2 games in the FA Cup, but there was one game in the Southern League, Division 1 Central, and that was Kidlington, who got a 2-2 draw against Kings Langley. They actually took a 2-0 lead. They took the lead after 3 minutes as Thomas Moore scored, then doubled their lead on the hour through Sam Jenkins. But the visitors did fight back, and Sam Murphy and Jermaine Howe scored to level it up, with the latter scoring in the 4th minute of added time to break the Kidlington hearts there. So just a draw for them in the league. There are 2 games on Sunday as well. Oxford United women, they had a big 5-0 win against Plymouth Argyle in the WPL. Izzy Cook gave United the lead on 28 minutes, and they doubled their lead 5 minutes before half time through Timmy Oliver. Cook did grab a second in the second half, and Zoe Barrett and Sarah King both on target as well, to secure that big win. Oxford City women were in something of a thriller actually. They were on the wrong end of the odd goal in a 7-goal game at Ascot United. Ascot took a quick 2-goal lead in the first half, but City did fight back and through Emily Harris to make it 2-1 before the interval. And City fought back and actually took a 3-2 lead in the second half, Ellie White grabbing a brace. But unfortunately, Ascot did hit back in the final 15 minutes with 2 goals of their own to seal a 4-3 win in that something of a thriller on Sunday afternoon. There is a round of games on Tuesday night actually for Oxford United and Oxford City, and obviously because we're not going to tell you now, you can probably tell that we're recording this on Monday. So we'll leave it to Darryl and Kieren to fill you in on those results in a minute once you're finished. But before that, we'll have a quick look at the league tables as they were on Monday night and what's coming up on Saturday. Obviously, with a few FA Cup games, there wasn't much movement in particularly the Southern League tables and the National League North table. But Oxford United's win saw them back up to 3rd in League One with a game in hand as well. So if they win that game in hand, they could quite easily go back top of the league where they were a few weeks ago. Oxford City's point against Dagenham and Redbridge saw them move up to 15th in the National League. Still 3 points clear of the relegation zone, which obviously be looking to keep distance from. Obviously no movement in the National League North with all those sides in FA Cup action, but Banbury United 15th in there at the moment. Again, Didcot didn't move as well with their FA Cup game. They're 20th in the Southern League, Southern League Division 1, Southern League Premier South Division. But they have also got a game in hand in the sides above, so might be able to get themselves out of there with a win in their game in hand. In the Southern League Division 1, I get it right this time, Northley sit 4th in that division, Kidlington 14th and Tame 15th. And quick look at the WPL Premier South Division, Oxford United sit 6th in that league, and Oxford City are 8th in the Southern Region Women's Football League division. So coming up on Saturday, and Oxford United are at home as they host Exeter City. Oxford City have a long trip. Actually, they travel up to Oldham Athletic, so a big game up there, and obviously an ex-Premier League side for Oxford City, which obviously is a big moment in City's history, really, for the first time playing a team that's played in the First Division. Didcot Town also on their travels. They head to Dorchester Town. Tame United are the only game on in the Southern League Division 1 this weekend. They travel to Ware. Kidlington are in FA Trophy action this weekend. They host Exmouth Town in the competition. And on Sunday afternoon, Oxford United women travel to Portsmouth, and Oxford City women host Warminster Town in the league. And as I say, I'll send you back to Darryl and Kieren to let you know what happens on Tuesday night.
All right, so Darryl and Kieren, we'll hand back to you for much more from the Oxfordshire Sports Unleashed team.
Thanks, Colin. Thanks, Patrick, for that little canter through the weekend sports results. Now we're going to move on to the first batch of highlights for you, and this is highlights from the Vanarama National League. Oxford City against Dagenham and Redbridge at the weekend. City extending their unbeaten run to 6 with this goalless draw. Highlights then, followed by an interview with the manager, Ross Jenkins.
Had committed forward up the field and couldn't backtrack quick enough. Meanwhile, here's Sanderson, the Fulham loanee, helps the ball onto Ashby on the edge of the box. Now Williams-Michel on that right-hand side. Cross floated into the box, and Josh Parker just swings the leg at the cross. Couldn't quite connect with that pass as well as he would have liked, and in the end, a rather tame season where they upset the apple cart. As the game struggles to really get going, both teams trying to find a foothold in the game. Fleet plays a ball forward, trying to beat the back line, and here's Ollie Sanderson, who latches onto a loose ball. Keeper spills it, only as far as Josh Parker, turns onto his left foot. Parker, great block, still not out of danger yet. Sparring more, low cross into the box, cleared away. Again to Micho, City will continue to come forward. Micho, cross into the box, flicked headed towards goal by Sanderson, goes wide. Really good chance there for Oxford City. Great defending from Dagenham, but really alongside Page, it looks like. Everyone else is on the edge of the box. Deep cross into the box, rises high as Francis Clark, and it's off the line from Josh Ashby. And eventually Oxford City scramble it away, but only as far...
I saw the Solihull game, and the passing football that they produced at Solihull was excellent. But City just giving the ball away a little bit too often at the moment. But here's Nia Kirby with a crack from distance this time, and it's gone wide. The keeper, Elliot Justin, wasn't interested in that at all. And although not to the right-hand side, a little cross in towards Hill. Hill's going to battle to pick this loose ball up, and he will do. He's got Tom Harrison shepherding him. We're into that little blind spot that Andy Gate referred to, one of the stanchions of the stand. Cross into the penalty area. Still danger, not clear. And a really good save there from Chris Haig. The danger wasn't clear, and Josh Rees got a shot on target. I don't think Chris Haig knew an awful lot about that, but he stuck a hand out and he's kept it out.
That's the save of the season so far from Chris Haig. Fantastic. It's not as acrobatic as some of his, where he just about stays on his feet to find Parker. Onto the edge of the area of Ashby. A lot better from City. Ashby, ball into the back post. It's another good ball. Williams-Michel. Kirby, great block, and it's finally away from Dagenham and Redbridge. Only as far as Fleet, though, midway through the half. Around about midway through the Dagenham half. The only people who haven't gone up for this, what's looking like a cross, is Williams-Michel and Tafari Moore. Arm in the air from Josh Ashby. Deep cross towards the back post. Headed by Carroll. Into the path of Ollie Sanderson, whose header is directed straight at Elliot Justin, straight at him in the end. But a really good chance for Oxford City. He was just about to drop to Ashby on the edge of the area. Meanwhile, Kendall's got away from Carroll, and it's 2-on-2 here. But Kendall goes all the way down the middle. Now it's Hill who's one-on-one with the keeper. Oh, and it's a fantastic save from Chris Haig. How has he saved that again? Meanwhile, corner taken quickly. Dagenham eager to get the game underway. Rees goes head-to-head with Carroll, not out of danger yet, City. Into the substitute, Lawless. Barely had time to breathe as Dagenham come forward here. Again, darting for the byline, gets it all wrong. What an outstanding save that was from Chris Haig. What happened was, there was a 2-on-2 as Canis Carroll was beaten, and Charlie Kendall looked as though he was just about to burst through the middle and take.
But he's given the ball away, and City just trying to keep possession. Now Ashby with a chance for a shot from distance. A great save. A really good save there for Elliot Justin. The first real chance for Oxford City. Josh Ashby from 20 yards all the way out to the right-hand side to Sam Ling. Back to Hessenthaler. Hessenthaler back into Vincent. Vincent a ball across the face of goal. Another fantastic save from the goalkeeper Chris Haig. How that did not go in, I do not know. That's probably the best save of the three.
Give him man of the match now. It was probably a toss-up between the two players. That's probably one of the best saves I've seen at this stadium. What an unbelievable save. How has that not got in? Chris Haig, what Just take a bow. Ross, 0-0, the unbeaten run stretches to 6 games. What are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, listen, it was a positive, clean sheet.
Okay.
I thought it was quite not a boring game, but there wasn't much quality in the game, and that's quite rare to sort of say that playing at home. But listen, we can't complain. Dagenham are a very organised and strong team. We found our way through them, but we never test the goalie, and when you don't test the goalie, you ain't going to score. So as much as we had really good play and some of our passing was really good and some of our link-up play, we didn't really test the goalie enough. So not like us after free-flowing goals here, but positives, clean sheet, another good performance, and we keep on moving.
When Dagenham tested the goalie, Chris Haig was there to stop them though. What an individual performance from him.
Yeah, I mean, that is his job as well, to be a goalie, to save the ball. Yes, we've got to applaud him, but that is his job as well. So he's done well today, Hagee. So sometimes he doesn't have to do much. Today he made, I think, 2 really good saves. And yeah, that's football. That's his job, and we praise him, but we move on. So yeah, it was a frustrating day, I must say. It felt like we were probably a yard off everywhere off the pitch. It felt like we had to maybe communicate the instructions too much, too often, and that's unlike us. We know what we're doing, we know our play, we know our system, but today it felt like hard work.
The hard work's going to continue as we get into this Saturday, Tuesday malarkey for the next few weeks, but what did you say to the lads then at half-time and full-time? Not happy?
Not happy. It was us. We were the problem. We didn't see anything that was causing us massive issues. It was us really not being clinical enough or not being careful with the final pass. So I wouldn't say it was a negative talk, but we just needed to wake up a little bit. And I don't think that team talk really done anything because we were sort of the same second half. There were some really good performances in there though, I must say. But listen, Dagenham are a good team, so we can't complain. We're in a tough league. First time we've played them for many years. And I thought that was a real battle, both teams battling, and so I think the points are probably fair, so we'll take a point.
Yeah, I think you've got to think though, 6 games unbeaten now, that is no mean feat. Have you stepped back to actually think about how impressive that is yet?
No, not really. I mean, I'm more disappointed with the performance, but I think we take the clean sheet. I think that's the main focus out of today, is a clean sheet against a strong team who are throwing bodies forward and trying to counter and trying to get bodies in the box. They brought a big lad on who was a bit of a handful, but we managed it. And listen, clean sheet at home, another point on the table, and we just keep on moving. So I think the disappointment and frustration that we didn't play better is always going to be there. But yeah, we can't argue. If we're not on it, then we'll take a point.
Did the lads share your thoughts?
Yeah, they all know that they've been average is the word we've used. That is an average performance, and we're so much better than average. The boys are so much better than average individually and as a collective. So that's probably the most disappointing thing, that everything was set up today and to get a decent result hopefully, and we worked our shape. The system was there to work, and we were just a little bit off it. Little final passes, little bits of quality in the final third. There's a few things that we're not happy with, but listen, there's loads more positives, and that is a clean sheet, a point, and we keep on moving up.
Keep on moving as well. Eastleigh away next on Tuesday. You're looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be some tired bodies, just like Eastleigh will have some tired bodies. We're putting a shift today again, so we've got to make sure we wrap some of them up and get some recovery into them, and yeah, we just got to go again. That's the league, and everyone's got to do it, so can't complain. We take a positive today, hopefully we get another positive against Eastleigh, so yeah, all good.
We're doing well at home, we're doing well in general. 2 away games next after Eastleigh, Oldham, and that is a sign of how far we've come. But we're going into these 2 games against really good opposition, fighting our own ground. 6 games unbeaten, I'll keep saying it, another clean sheet today. We're improving with every game, aren't we? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, coming into this league is always going to be difficult. We knew the challenge. I think we're going into games a little bit more confident now. I wouldn't say there's any sort of arrogance, but confidence is the word to use. And we know it's always going to be a battle. We've got some big teams in the league, and listen, we're hopefully going to get there one day. Right now we're seen as a smaller club, and we're battling, we're scrapping, we're trying to play our stuff, and so far it's been okay. We've got loads more to work on and develop as a team. But today we weren't at the races, we were pretty average, and we'll take a point, so no problem.
Ross, thanks very much for your time.
Cheers.
So in the FA Cup, there was one good result and one not so good result at the weekend. Banbury United fell to a shock 2-1 defeat at Nantwich Town. Banbury's goal coming really in stoppage time. It was a consolation goal. Really. They fell to a 2-0 deficit before pulling one back near the end. Better news though for Didcot Town, as was mentioned earlier. They beat Bristol Manor Farm by 2-0 at the Loop Meadow Stadium to book their place in the third qualifying round. And Woodsy, a great tie for them in the third qualifying round. Yeovil Town away. That's a fantastic tie for them.
Absolutely superb.
So here we have some highlights then from the Didcot Town Bristol Manor Farm game on Saturday. So Didcot Town from the Southern League Premier Division hosting Bristol Manor Farm at the Loop Meadow Stadium. A really nice ground down at Didcot, and it's really good to see them into the third qualifying round. The last time they had a really good run in the FA Cup was several years ago. I think back in 2011 they got through to the first round and lost to Exeter City in the first round on a televised game, and I was there for that game. The stadium was packed and it was great watching, and Didcot Town certainly didn't let themselves down. In this game, Bristol Manor Farm actually started the brighter of the two sides. A really good save there from the Didcot keeper Lee Bedwell. A bit of a point-blank save from the bullet header from the Bristol Manor Farm player. It took until well into the second half, really, before Didcot finally did manage to get into the lead. And the goal, when it finally came, was courtesy of Robbie Gallagher. There was a bit of a scramble in the area. The final touch, it was given to Gallagher. It looked like it had been cleared off the line. Referee gave that goal, and that put Didcot Town 1-0 up against the West Country side, to the ecstasy of the pretty large crowd actually at the Loop Meadow Stadium. And I dare say they'll take a fair few with them down to Yeovil, to Hewish Park, formerly in the Championship, of course, Yeovil Town. And then the second goal came really close to the end. From this corner, McNeil scores the second goal to send the Railwayman, Jamie Heap's team, into the third qualifying round as he headed home right on the stroke of full time there in the second qualifying round. Coming up is the interview with the Didcot Town manager Jamie Heapy, and along the bottom of the screen for the remainder of today we will be also showing you all the results from all the local non-league and local league football and rugby union, and that'll be scrolling on the bottom of the screen. And now it's an interview with Jamie Heapy, who reflected on that fantastic victory on Saturday.
Jamie, good afternoon.
Hi, James.
Good win in the FA Cup today against Bristol Manor Farm. First of all, what's your thoughts on the game?
A tough game. Yeah, tough game. I think they're a good side, to be fair. It caused us a few problems first half, and it caused us a few problems. And we luckily we defended all right, to be fair. I thought we looked quite compact. We looked quite organised, and we kept them out. A couple of long-range shots they had, but second half when we got in the game and got on the ball a little bit more, we created a few chances and put them to bed, so to speak.
As we can hear Craig in the background, Wembley. Looking forward to the draw on Monday?
Yeah. You know, it's another. I like looking forward to the draws, to be fair, on Monday afternoon. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we get. I don't know any results, but wherever it be, it'll be. But yeah, you know, pleased we've gone through. Good for the club, good for the players. What's that? 3 on the bounce, 3 wins on the bounce, which is good. You know, it gives us a bit of confidence again and belief, like I said before. It just gives you a bit of momentum, I suppose, in these cup games. But no, back to work in the week, ready for Dorchester away Saturday.
Just about to touch on the 3 wins in a row. Obviously, it's been a difficult start to the season, stepping up another level. Do you think it's just finally clicked a little bit with the squad, getting the last few results?
Yeah, possibly. Finding our feet a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, a bit of both. I think. You know, we played some good teams. I think we've been unlucky in some games where we probably could have picked up a couple of more points. We haven't, but that's the nature of this league. No, you know, we just take each game, learn from it, train hard, work on things we need working on. We look better defensively, like I said today. We've been working on that. Yeah, pleased. You know, it's pleasing to get through. It's pleasing to win again. Winning, good habit to get into. It's nice to win games of football. And the boys are happy. The club's happy. It's a good day.
Just finally, all focus turns on Saturday. Back to league action at last. Although we've been waiting for FA Cup tie for a while, and you get them all at once. Looking forward to Dorchester on Saturday.
Yeah. Bread and butter. Back to the league. Tough game. Another tough game. You know, they've recruited a few new players recently, so they're going to be strong. We've got a few to come back, obviously, as well. So it's great to have. I must mention Ben, get him back on the pitch today. It was good to have him back. You know, we've missed him the last few games where he's been out. So nice for him to get some minutes under his belt. Bard's obviously played, not 100% fit, but did his job, did a Bard's job, and yeah, we look alright at the moment, to be fair. So we'll have a good week this week and be ready for Dorchester on Saturday.
Onwards and upwards. Cheers, Gemma. Catch up Thursday.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
So that's Didcot Town manager Jamie Heapy reflecting on that 2-0 victory over Bristol Manor Farm and setting up a third qualifying round tie away to Yeovil Town on Saturday week. Just before we move on from football, just a quick roundup of Tuesday evening. Well, I can tell you Oxford United fell to a 1-0 defeat at home to MK Dons in their second EFL trophy match. That's after a 3-1 win in their first game against Northampton Town. Oxford City came from 2-0 down to stretch their unbeaten run to 7 with a 2-2 draw against Eastleigh after being 2-0 down. Fantastic response with the goals coming from Lewis Coyle and Latrell Humphrey-Ewers scoring the equaliser in the dying moment. So a really fantastic fight back there from Oxford City. OK, we're going to change sports now. We're going to wrap up the end of the cricket season and hand over to Woodsy, and he will give you all the full details of what happened at the weekend at Wormsley.
Yeah, we had the great experience of doing the live stream and the commentary on the 2 T20 finals at Wormsley. What a great venue that is to play cricket. On a really overcast day, I have to say, it was probably the worst day actually since we've been doing the live streaming. It wasn't cold, but it was pretty grim. But it was great to see in the Wilf Bennett final Henley take on Tame, and we've got some highlights of that to show you.
Yeah, left arm was coming out. Nice little dab down. That's going to go for 4. That's a beautifully timed shot.
Again, left arm round the wicket and goes for a big drive down the ground. There's no one out there, over long off, and that's gone for 6, I think.
And he's actually feeling like he's in this game. Oh, that's very close to an LBW appeal. He's given.
As the bowler comes in again, and a big shot, that one. That's going to go. Oh, great effort. Really good effort at long on.
Fantastic effort to stop that.
It has gone for 4, but as Crockett comes in to bowl. And he's bowled him.
Well, for me.
That's going to go
that could
out
be caught.
Of the ground. That's not going to be caught by anyone. That's a 6. And now Hayes comes in again over the wicket bowling. And this is a big shot this time. And that's gone a long way. That has gone for an absolutely enormous 6 there to Hilditch. Hilditch this time has a massive shot. It's well over the head of the fielder, and that's another 6.
It's Watson, right arm over, and Connell smashes that down the ground. This could be caught though. No, over the head of long off. Another fantastic shot from Johnny Connell. Watson in, bowls to Connell again, tries to smash that down the ground, doesn't get all of it, and is caught.
Oh dear me, there you go.
On 89 on the park end, bowls. Shortland cut away by Hilditch. Beautiful shot out into the offside. Races away for 4. Up to the stumps now, bowls and full ball and bowled him. Leg stump. Kieren right arm round the wicket to Jordan, who crashes that out to deep mid wicket, and that is the victory for Henley. And I think he's got there with a 6 as well. Henley, the 2023 Wilf Bennett Cup champions.
As you heard there, the winners of the Wilf Bennett Trophy, Henley, after chasing down Thames 185, Johnny Connell actually went off like a tracer bullet. Scored 89 off about 40 balls. When he was dismissed, however, Tame did get back into the game, and it made for a really tight finish, with Henley getting across the line with a maximum and with 4 balls remaining. So a tight game there at the Wilf Bennett Trophy. But congratulations to Henley Cricket Club, and well played to both them and Tame for an entertaining game. It really was entertaining. The outfield was lightning quick. It was great to watch. That took us on to the next game, where we had an absolute downpour, and the ground staff, I have to give a good shout out to Wormsley. The ground staff worked tirelessly to get a 15 over a side game for the Hartwell Trophy competition, the final, where Oxford Cricket Club were playing Horsepath, and the highlights for that game are here.
And Oxford away straight away, and Woods is spot on with the outfield pace, because that was a little flick off the hip and it's flown to the boundary for 4. In comes Isles bowling to Tate. Tate, a big shot there. That's just been dispatched, and is that 1 bounce 4? Yes, it's 1 bounce and 4 would be the better way at the moment. That looks pretty close. And it's given, LBW.
Up to this wicket now, Bowles, and shorter ball, and it's bowled in, leg stump, out the ground. Here's Clark for the last ball of the innings. It's full. Smith smashes this one out. Down 2, long on. They'll definitely come through for 1. They'll go through for the second, and it's a run out. So just the 1 run to finish Oxford's innings. They end on 84 for 6. Round the wicket to Chris Hofen, who clips this one from mid-wicket. Well, oh, there's a huge mix. There's a horrible mix-up, and there will be a run-out. Oxford have their first wicket. He's in, right arm over, bowling his off-spin. And that's hit on the pad. First ball. That looks close.
Yes,
he's got it. Tate strikes first ball for Oxford. Horsepath 5 down now.
May have stopped a 4, a boundary, because
yeah,
this time it has gone for 4. That's a great shot from Richardson.
Bowls to Richardson. Short ball pulled out into the deep. There's a fielder waiting out there. Takes the catch.
Yep, and that's not going to happen, because Rafiq is bowled, and Oxford have won the Hartwell Cup.
You can see after the rain, it did change the pitch in a low-scoring affair there, where Oxford only managed to post 85, which we thought in the comms box was too small a total. We thought Horsepath would chase it down with their length and depth of their batting order. However, they struggled, as you saw, 55 all out. Congratulations to Oxford Cricket Club, but also Horsepath Cricket Club for their season as well. And that brings us on quite nicely to an interview we did on the day with Oxford Cricket Club captain George Tate, talking about the season for Oxford Cricket Club generally.
Just talking about Oxford's season as a whole. So Oxford started the season, had a tricky start, didn't you? You know, you were struggling down the towards the bottom end, but you actually picked up really well during the season and eventually finished pretty comfortably in mid-table. And I guess that's a bit of a platform for Oxford to move on for next year, put that behind you and try and get yourselves back up the table at the right end and try and get back into that top flight.
Yeah, absolutely. We were suffering from last season at the start of the year, in the sense that, you know, we didn't win a single match, we got relegated, and I think it took us a while to find our feet again in those first 4 games. And then with the win against Buckingham in one of the final white ball games, that was a massive momentum shift for us. And then the red ball cricket, with the numbers that we can bowl of spin, numbers of overs we can bowl, that puts us in a good position. And we got ourselves up to 3rd during the middle of the game and middle of the season, and it was so tight in the league. I think having finished 7th, we were 20 points off 3rd and 20 points off 9th. So it was a very tight season, but we always felt we were safe from relegation, and in the middle of the season even pushing for promotion potentially. But you're absolutely right, going into next year we feel really good, and we'll have another year together as a side gelling, and we think we'll be in a really strong position starting next season.
Yeah, you've made a really good point there. It's, you know, you hit the ground running if you've had a good season, and actually if you've had a poor season, which you had last year, and as you said, didn't win a game, it is very difficult to turn that momentum around, and it did take you a little while, but once you did, you picked up some good results, and yeah, hopefully for next year you can push towards that top half.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely the plan. We have a few players in mind that we want to sign, and we have better established roles within the squad already. So I think moving into next year, we will be in a really good spot to push for promotion.
Now, a little incident I want to talk to you about, George. You went viral this year. I think it's a good thing to talk about, because it was a video that went on Twitter, and you did go viral, and it wasn't very often you see George Tate trending on Twitter, but talk me through the man-cad situation, George, where you were, I don't think you were backing up from what I saw personally. I thought it was a little bit harsh, but from your perspective, what did you think of that incident?
I mean, obviously I was out in terms of the strict rules of the game. I was marginally out my crease. It wasn't very much. It wasn't one of those where I was certainly a long way out of my crease looking to steal ground as such. You can maybe make the argument that any distance out of your ground is trying to steal ground, but that sort of started. The context required is that they got 2-10 and we were 20 for 4. So they thought they were a shoe-in to win the game, and me and Farhan Khan we were currently on a partnership of 140, needing 3.5 and over from then on, and it looked like we were going to cruise the game. And we had a warning from another bowler on the Buckingham side towards Farhan, who then made it a team warning. And I had previously been given out LBW off a no ball, so I think there was a lot of frustration building for the Buckingham side about me being at the crease and the way the game was going after they got our innings, after such a good start for them. And from my perspective, it seems a bit like it was what else can we do? So yeah, that was frustrating for me, but I'm really happy we won the game and that incident didn't cost us the game.
And you trended, so that's always good, isn't it? If we ever see you trending again, George, hopefully it's when you've made your debut for England and scored 100. But thanks for talking to me, George. Good luck for the rest of the game. It's into the penultimate over. 70, test my eyesight again. Thank you.
And there we have it, a lovely interview there with George Tate, the winner, captain of the Hartwell Trophy for Oxford Cricket Club. Great talking about the Madden Canny incident. I thought that was brilliant to share that with you. We now go over to the losing club captain. Wasn't captain on the day, actually. Amin Rafiq was, but club captain throughout the year has been Will Eason, and he had this to say about Horsepath's season.
Just while the game's going on, we want to talk about Horsepath's season. The whole club, not just the first team, because obviously, the first team, everybody knows, had a tricky year. But as a club, you won the Oxfordshire section of the Village Knockout, got through to the national stages. Your twos finished quite high, and actually as a club, your under-19s continue their domination of the under-19 competition. So the club is actually in a pretty decent place, isn't it? Unfortunately, as we've had a run out there, but sold down the river a little bit there, unfortunately, so that's another wicket. But talking about the season, Will, the club's in a good position. You've got some really good youngsters coming through, and Horsepath do have a fantastic history of bringing through youth cricketers.
Yeah, the youth system's going really well at the minute. Just sort of, obviously, with the first team finishing the bottom two was not where we wanted to be, but where we've ultimately deserved to finish because we've not played well enough. Obviously, this is slightly just past the balance at the minute in Oxford's favour, but we did win the first team did obviously win the Oxfordshire section of the Village Cup. Our seconds finished third in Division 1, which was brilliant. The thirds and fourths both had really good seasons. The fours won their league the last day, and the threes and fours both won their cup competition. So, as an overall picture, we've had a fantastic season, but obviously it's been marred by the way that we finished the season in the league with the ones.
And how does a club like Horsepath assess the season and come back stronger next year? Because Horsepath, a famous club in Oxfordshire, really successful over many, many years, and it's not a club that tends to be down for long, is it? And knowing you as I do, and knowing a lot of the people involved at Horsepath, the good people involved, you're going to bounce back, aren't you? And that's really key, that you put this season behind you and then look to the future.
Yeah, I mean, we sort of wait for this to be done and then collectively come together and work out what we're going to do in terms of how we approach next year. In terms of, always been on the up. 20 years ago, our first team were in Chilwell Division 5. So, we've had a lot of success in the last 20 years. This season, obviously, is one that's not been great for us, but, we've been, on the receiving end of, some bad times as well. So we're going to, we'll have to bounce back. It's the way it is. I think personnel-wise, hopefully we'll keep the same crop. We've got some really good youngsters that have done well in Choa 1. Joey Todd captained them brilliantly. Joey's going back to New Zealand next week. So we'll have to sort of look at the second team captaincy, because he's led the twos for the last couple of years. But yeah, hopefully, if we can get some of the younger guys playing consistently, like they have done in the twos, into the ones, and then I think we should be okay.
And just finally, off the field of play a little bit, a word about the Horsepath Barmy Army, that without a doubt the best supporters, certainly the loudest supporters in Oxfordshire, and wherever you go, a little bit different today because a lot of them decided when it was pouring down to go home, but having that crowd with you, especially in these big cup games, it's a brilliant, they generate a fantastic atmosphere at the club, don't they?
Yeah, they're great. They're a bit quiet at the minute, funnily enough, but we've had the support we had, not just this year, but over the years. It's been, can't question them for their dedication and support. We went to, in the Village Cup this year, we probably had 300-400 people at the home game in the first round of the national stages. We probably had 80 to 100 down in Cornwall on the Sunday where we lost. So yeah, they'll even if we lose, there'll be plenty of noise from them.
Will Eason there, the losing captain of the Hartwells Trophy Horsepath Cricket Club, but a great insight to how they're going to put things right for the future. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you will notice there's now, the sofa has become 3, as we've been joined by another successful captain this year for Bicester and North Oxford, and that is Ryan Moore. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Ryan, first man on the spot. You're the very first guest on OxSports Unleashed, so welcome. I know you're very impressed with all our technology.
Yeah,
we'll try and make it run smoother in time. Ryan, first of all, congratulations. Bicester and North Oxford winning the Cherwell League, back in the Home Counties League after many, many years, and you were the captain. You must have been absolutely thrilled to lead that side back into the Premier League.
Yeah, not just for the playing 11, for the club in general. I mean, being one of the founders when it first started, it's been a goal, especially when I took over sort of 7-8 years ago, to get us back to the home county. So yeah, everybody's thrilled.
I mean, the club made some really tough decisions a few years ago, didn't you? You were struggling for numbers, struggling for the right level of player to play at the level in the Cherwell League you were. So you accepted a relegation, or you asked for a relegation down to Division 4, and it was basically a complete rebuild of the club, wasn't it, from bottom to top? And this is the culmination now that you've got back into the Home Counties League after all that hard work.
Yeah, no, there was a few things which we knew that needed to change. Sort of that mentality about how we train, how we approach games, even down to, it sounds silly, but like fielding positions. I mean, when I joined, the most agile person wasn't necessarily in the right place. You had sort of veterans which would just walk to first slip. So we sort of had that feel of, if we're going to do it, we're going to start taking it seriously. We're going to put people in the right areas and get people in. I think Gary Sampson being a head coach, a lot of credit goes to him, because there's a lot of work goes into to help him.
You've mentioned Gary Sampson. You've preempted my next question. That's brilliant. No, that's just what we wanted to actually. So Gary Sampson, instrumental at Bicester, Bicester through and through.
Yeah.
He's worked his socks off, hasn't he, over many, many years to get the club back to where it is. And I wouldn't say necessarily instilling more professionalism, because it's still recreational cricket. It's still, you still play to enjoy it, but just getting that sort of winning mentality. And I suppose he's every bit as important to this success as all your players are.
Well, we said at the end of season 2 that a lot of people wouldn't be the cricketers they are now without the work that he gets, well, the work he puts in. And yeah, it's quite nice as a captain to have sort of somebody that's played at a level and done things which we haven't yet as a team, to sort of run ideas past. He can come in with ideas from the boundary, stuff like that. It makes my job a hell of a lot easier.
Absolutely. And Darryl and I know Gary Sampson very, very well. I'm going to put Darryl on the spot. I'm going to put you on the spot in a minute. Darryl obviously knows you very well from back in the day in the county side, so we know how hard a worker you are. I'm not going to ask who's the best coach, because it's obviously Gary Sampson without a shadow of a doubt. But how important was it to you as a person, as a cricketer, to have that sort of support growing up, not only at county level but at Bicester, to have that support from lots of different coaches to get yourself into this position?
Yeah, and I think it's massive. I mean, we talk about it from a club point of view. You sort of get to 18, you leave the sort of youth setup, and a lot of people don't get coached again. And they can be playing another 20, 30 years. So I think as a club level, it is really important if you can get the right person in. They've obviously got to be dedicated and stuff, but having that coach all the way through your playing career, I think, is instrumental to trying to be the best player you can be, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. And actually, a lot of players that I speak to actually think it's quite an advantage to have lots of different coaches. Some people don't. Some people think that having loads of different coaches, you get mixed messages. But actually, some people say actually having a different coach, having a different perspective really helps.
Yeah, and even as a captain, I mean, everybody's got an idea. It's about trying to work out or take it all in and then work out what you feel will work for you or your team and stuff like that. So, yeah, working with loads of individuals. And we've got some plans moving forward to try and expand that coaching side of it at Bicester. So, yeah, without giving too much away, we're sort of, that's the area we want to strengthen moving forward.
Brilliant. One more question for me, then I know Woods has got loads as well. Step up to the Home Counties League. It's going to be tough, as a lot of clubs have found it over the years. It's a big step between Chow and Home Counties. But presumably you're going to essentially stick to the players that have got you there, or at least give them, first dibs, if you like, because they've been the players that have got you there in the first place.
No, exactly. And out of the 15 players we used this year, 7 of them have come up through our youth setup, which
brilliant.
We talk about building from the ground up and stuff like that. I think that is a core group of players which I've been playing with them since they were 9, 10, 11 years old, some of them. And now we're getting on a bit at 27, 28, 29.
Listen to him.
So yeah, it's nice to have that sort of feel around the club, because it is a good place to be, especially playing Home Counties cricket next year.
Speaking of getting on a bit, I'm going to hand you over to the nearly 60-year-old Woodsy.
I was just thinking about the veteran bit and me walking up and down from slip to slip. That actually, that's a great description of my season, to be fair.
The polite way, yeah.
That's very good. I quite like that. For me, it's a great story because I left the club when they actually made that decision of going down to Div 4, and I've been watching it ever since as a life member of Bicester and North Oxford, and it's just been brilliant to see that rise back up through the young players learning their ropes, the likes of a Dan Saving, Dan Clark, Ben Clark, one or two others, Marcus Jaycock. Who have been your key contributors this year?
Well, if you look at the stats, I think Ben Clark taking 35 wickets at an average of, I think it was nearly 16. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't turn your nose up at that. And then obviously we got Zian Stoop opening the batting. I think he scored second leading run score this year at 450, an average of 37. But for us, it was, as a team, when they didn't take wickets or it didn't come off, there were others that stepped up. So I think statistically those two stand out, but everybody contributed one way or another.
And your form wasn't too shabby at times, was it? You've got the runs when you needed to get the runs, is that fair?
You got runs.
Well, it's unusual.
I'll hang around. So I don't think my strike rate's anything to shout about, but yeah, I quite like a bit of a dogfight, sort of coming in tricky situations and stuff. So yeah, there were times where I managed to hang about for a bit.
Yeah, that's good. I pick up on what you said about bringing those youngsters up and playing together for that amount of time. It makes a massive difference. Yeah. And I was going to ask you, how many players did actually play in the first team this year?
I'm pretty sure it was seven that came up through. We would have only used 13 throughout the whole season, but unfortunately lost one of our openers. He had to relocate. So yeah, nearly talking half of our current first team squad are come up through the youth setup. So. And
you didn't use that many players throughout the season to win the trophy?
No, I think it's simple. If you can get your best 11 out week in, week out, you give yourself every opportunity. And I think that's what we do with our cricket. Try and simplify it. Don't overcomplicate, stuff like that. So for us, field your best 11. More often than not, you're going to end up where you deserve come the end of the season.
I think so. And you start playing for each other, don't you? Because you're there for each other each time, and somebody always steps up to the plate.
Yeah, and it doesn't just happen. Like you say, you've got to be around these sort of people for a number of years. But yeah, it's not all rainbows and sunshines. Like, we do get on each other's nerves and stuff like that. But it's quite nice
sport, isn't it?
we're competitive, so that's what we want.
You can't be more than that, can you?
I think you've hit a really good point, which I think would be a really good point for any other club that wants to be successful, and that is you've basically picked from a core squad of 13 or 14 players, and you've had ever-presence. And I think the most successful teams over the years are the teams that are ever-presence. Yes, you need competition for places, I guess, but if you've got a really good core and they're keen to play every week, that leads to the success, and that's probably a good sort of philosophy for other clubs that want to emulate what you've done.
Yeah, I know everybody has commitments outside of cricket.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately that's our goal, and that's I think where most of our success has come from this year is everybody committing fully to what we're trying to do at Bicester.
The couple of things I want to add and ask, because this will, I'm sure people watching, going to Bicester and North Oxford, the noise. Tell us about the noise.
What noise? I don't know what you're on about.
I'm with you, Ryan. I never heard it when I played there. So
that's because you're deaf, Darryl.
That probably is right, yeah.
It's one of those where I know people think we're sort of taking the mick, really, but we don't notice it so much. But yeah, we are aware that we have got a motorway field away, and if the wind's in the wrong direction, you can't hear anything. But
the umpires love it.
Oh, hey, yeah, they love coming.
I missed loads of caught behinds there, didn't I?
To be fair, and I'm going to bring on my next comical question. Actually, to be fair, but the pitch there is a good cricket wicket, isn't it?
I think, yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Good cricket wicket. If you put the ball in the right areas early doors, there's something in it for you. If you can sort of get through that tricky period, you can score runs, and then if it does start to turn, second innings and stuff. So I would say for an overall cricket wicket, we're up there.
Even with the grumpy groundsman, that is Graham Savin.
Wow, grumpy. Yeah, I think he's
mellowed, does he, in his old age?
Yeah, I would say he's mellowed. He's a lot of credit goes to him because there is a lot of work that goes into the pitch, especially as we then ask him to paint training wickets for us midweek so that we can get out on the square and practice. So
yeah, that's what you need, isn't it? That's really important. He's always good. He's great for the club, to be fair. My last question to you, Ryan, before we can let you on your way, as it were, the future. I think you've alluded to it a little bit, but what's your plans going forward, going into the Home Counties Feeder League, which is a great honour? What's your thoughts?
I think more of the same. I don't think we want to overcomplicate anything. We've got one or two targets that we'd like to approach over the winter, but trying to make sure they're the right fit for us as a club. We've obviously we want to get a player coach in, which has played that level, because that is one thing we do lack, being a young team, is experience. So that is something which we want to add. But overall, just focus week by week, try and win as the game that's coming up on the Saturday, and not look too far ahead. I think that's probably the basics.
And captaincy, is it continuing?
Yeah, yes.
All right. You heard it here first on OxSports Unleashed. That's an absolute exclusive. Mr. North Oxford captain remaining in place.
You might have, yeah.
We've preempted the meeting, Darryl. That's what we've done.
So. Ryan, from me, thank you for coming and joining us on our first programme. It's been a pleasure to interview you, but congratulations and good luck in the Home Counties.
I'll fist bump, Ryan.
Yeah, no worries.
You said you're looking for players. I am available, just saying. Ryan, from me as well, we're really proud. We're really proud of all our Oxfordshire teams that get as high as they possibly can. It can only be good for Oxfordshire cricket, and we'll be cheering you on next year. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you very much.
Good
Appreciate
stuff.
it.
There you go, that's Ryan Moore. He's going to disappear in a moment. Thanks to Ryan. Right, the next thing we're going to do, we have a little feature, a couple of features actually over the coming months. One of them is a Team of the Week, and this is going to go back to football. So our Team of the Week is something we're asking you to contact us, email us at oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. If you want to be featured as our Team of the Week, it doesn't have to be football, it can be rugby, hockey, Aunt Sally, anything at all. If you want to be our team of the week, drop us an email. We will then get in touch with you. We will do everything we can to feature any team. And our first team of the week this week is Deer Park Rangers from the Whitney and District League. And I'm going to put Woodsy on the spot. Woodsy, what do you know about Deer Park Rangers? Tell everybody what you know.
I want to say very little, but I know they're a new side formed last year. They're looking for promotion, and they've had a good start to the season. So thank you for sending us your clip. And as K-Dog has already alluded to, please, if you want to get involved as Team of the Week, please send us your clip to oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. That's oxsportsunleashed@gmail.com. And here are the goals from their game this last weekend.
These are the goals against... Are we on or... These are the goals against Leafield Reserves. I'm just looking at the grass. We are talking grassroots.
It is grassroots. It's long grassroots, isn't it?
Brilliant goals, though. That was 3 of the goals that were scored. Many thanks to Ethan for sending those clips in. As we've said, if you've got clips of goals, we're hoping to have, over the course of the season, maybe a goal of the season competition as well. And that can be any club from Oxford City in the National League all the way down to Deer Park Rangers. If somebody smashes one in from 50 yards for Deer Park Rangers and it beats Josh Ashby's pile driver in the National League, then you will win goal of the week. So that's the plan. And now we are going to head over for a rather interesting feature, which my colleague Mr. Woods is going to introduce.
Yeah, this was something we thought would be quite good fun on the programme over the coming weeks. We started to call it Let's Kill K-Dog section. We decided that was a little bit too wrong, so we've said Challenge K-Dog. So we've set a few challenges for K-Dog over the next few weeks. He is in the process at the moment, as you can see, with a broken thumb, so we've had to put a little bit of stop on some of the things that we had in store, bobsleighing and stuff like that. So
just say I didn't break it doing a challenge K-Dog.
We do have a little bit of footage from his first encounter for his first challenge, which was outdoor bowls at Chipping Norton Bowls Club.
So OxSports Unleashed, Challenge K-Dog. Going to try bowls today, and my coach for the day is the legend that is Dave Freeman. A lot of people know Dave through other things, cricket particularly, chairman of Great Little Chew. Dave, you're going to teach me in the space of 10 minutes to be a world-class bowler. That's your target for today, okay? Yeah. So first of all, a little bit of advice for somebody that's never picked up a bowl or wood in my life. What's your first piece of advice, Kieren?
A minute to learn, a lifetime to master. So.
Behind you. No, behind you. Behind you.
Good jack, it's a good jack, mate. It's probably play a similar shot. Is that in front of the 5? First attempt. See where this goes. Yeah.
Oh dear. That's in the scouter.
It's not really curling very much, is it? That's going to go in.
They don't. Not 70. They don't curl it 100 miles an hour.
Look how hard you bowled it, Kieren, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, take that some game.
Well, it's still on the green, so that's good. Pretty good. Okay. I might try one left-handed in a minute. Go ahead.
Green. Step back. Take the jack. You hit the jack. Not quite.
Good effort though, mate. That's decent.
Yeah.
That way a bit first. That's it, mate.
Line's good.
Let's come up, we've still got one.
It's alright. Well, I would play the same shot again. Narrow it right up a bit. We're looking at, if you hit that, it's coming back to us. Showing off now, Kieren. A bit wide.
Did you get the whole film?
Yeah. The editors...
That's all right, Ken. That's a good line, though. That's a really good line, though. Because you're looking just to come inside that blue one. Try and get close to the line.
Wait back, Kieren. Wait, Jack, are you?
Yeah.
I would...
Right there. When I let it go, I knew I wasn't going to quite there. So. You're a little bit skinny, mate.
And there you go, Challenge K-Dog Part 1, being slightly less than average in his first attempt outdoor bowls.
Very hard.
There is obviously more to come, and you'll see how he improves or not over the coming weeks. And as you can see, again, the sofa has become 3 as we've been joined by co-owner of Oxford City Football Club, Paul Lyon. Welcome.
Good evening, Darryl.
You need to put the mic
Kieren.
up. Hello, how are you? Use the mic.
Mic up. Very well, thank you. Sorry, I forgot I had a mic.
You forgot you had a mic in your hand. Paul, thanks for joining us. Our second guest on OxSports Unleashed. We're not going to say every single guest is going to be our third or fourth.
No, we won't do that.
Paul, we wanted to get you in on our first show because of the monumental rise of Oxford City Football Club. 20 years ago, 21 years ago, playing at Cutteslowe Park, on park pitches, council pitches, after being basically thrown out of the White House ground where my dad used to go. You've overseen for the last, several years, the rise of Oxford City through the leagues to their highest ever level. Just talk me through what goes through your mind running a club at this level first. I mean, it's a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. 7 years ago, Justin and I came into the club and had a mighty task on our hands, and what we were concentrating on was just staying at the same level. And yeah, one day we'd love to go to the National League, and I always said, yeah, okay, in the future, it's something we can aspire to. I didn't know it happened in the 7th season. It's been amazing, and obviously Ross Jenkins, our manager, has done a brilliant job. We've got some great young players at the club, and we deserved to go up last season, and it's really exciting times. But exciting times bring other problems and challenges. And the biggest challenge of playing National League football is the financial challenge, because we're in a division now where over half the teams have been Football League.
Yeah.
A lot of them have been Football League in the last 2 or 3 seasons. We've got Oldham Athletic this weekend, who were in the Premier League 20 years ago, FA Cup semi-final, and I think their stadium holds nearly 30,000. And Oxford City are going to play there on Saturday, which is it's a bizarre situation. Like you say, we were playing in Cutteslowe Park at the time when Oldham Athletic were in the Premier League, and now we're in the same division. So that's incredible, and it's really good for the supporters. We've had some really tough times in the last few years, and I think each season we've improved. You've seen good cup runs, and you've seen us in the playoffs last season, and then this season we've got to the playoff final and we've won it. So we've had lots of progression through the last 7 years, and culminating in the promotion we've just had. So it's been absolutely brilliant, and let's hope this isn't the end of the story.
Let's hope not. You touched briefly on what huge amount of work you and Justin Merritt had to do when you came into the club, not least wiping out a significant debt. The club were not, I wouldn't say they were on their knees, but the club were struggling financially, weren't they, when you and Justin took over, and you had to get that onto an even keel before you could even consider moving forwards and getting yourselves up the leagues.
Yeah, it's public knowledge that it was in the news at the time. They were winding up petitions on the football club when Justin and I came in, and we'd had the situation with the previous American owner, and he went to jail in America for fraud, and obviously we lost Colin Taylor. I knew Colin for 45 years. Lovely guy, did brilliantly for the football club. He was the guy that got Oxford City at Court Farm, got the new facility in place. How many years ago now? 20 odd years ago, and he got the new 3G pitches down and the netball. Colin did brilliantly for the football club, and it was so sad when we lost Colin, but it brought challenges for us, financial. We had to make a decision whether to do what other clubs have done and fold the club and start again and start at the very bottom, like Bury and other clubs like that, or whether to battle through and to try and keep at the same level and pay all the debts, and that's what we chose to do. We had a situation where lots of local companies were owed money, and we couldn't put them in a situation where there were bad debts to be written off. It wouldn't be fair. And so we tried to juggle everything, stay in the same division, stay competitive, and to pay the debts off. And 7 years have gone by and we're still here. And if you remember back the first season, I think we were near the bottom, or we were just about above the relegation zone, and we survived. After 2 or 3 seasons, we were mid-table, and in the last few seasons, we've been up in the playoffs. So we've seen this gradual progression upwards, and at the same time, we've managed to pay down some of the debt, and we've got it under control now. So it's a really good position.
It's a fantastic story. I actually, I think Court Place Farm, as it was, is a little bit more than 20 years, because I remember the FA Vase run back in '95. I actually went to Wembley. I was very young back then. I was only 19, and I know you lost that game. But the fact that you are now competing as equals, you've mentioned it, you just alluded to it, you're competing as equals with the likes of Chesterfield, Rochdale, Hartlepool, who you absolutely hammered a couple of weeks ago, Oldham on Saturday. That is, as you said, that's just bizarre to think that some of those clubs were playing league football, Hartlepool and Rochdale last season. Oldham, I'd love to see actually where they were playing 20 years ago on Saturday and where you were playing. You'll probably find that you were playing, I don't know, in the Isthmian League against Northwood, no disrespect to Northwood, and they were probably playing Man City or whatever. It is a fantastic story. And you must be pinching yourself that you're going to be at Boundary Park on Saturday watching your club play as equals against Oldham.
Every week I'm pinching myself. It's we've had some really good FA Cup runs in previous years where we've played at Notts County and Shrewsbury Town and Tranmere Rovers, and they've been brilliant. Now, when we're playing them in the league, it is a slightly different feeling because we're playing as an equal, like you say. And Aldershot Town away, first game of the season in front of nearly 3,000. It was like that was when it really sort of dawned on me. Actually, we're in the National League playing against ex-Football League teams in a place where we deserve to be on merit.
Yep.
And it's a really big challenge for us to see if we can compete, because all these clubs we're playing against are full-time clubs and we're still part-time. Having said that, we're finishing our games really strong, and I think we're as fit as them. So it's a brilliant challenge for us. And in Hartlepool at home a few weeks ago was, I think, one of the highlights of the season so far for me, where we went behind in the game and we came out 5-2 winners, and nobody could believe it. And we were odds-on favourites for relegation at the start of the season, and I think the bookmakers have revised that a little bit based on the fact we've gone 7 games without losing. We haven't done anything yet, though. It's a long season. There's only 10 games gone. We've got 36 more to go. But I think what we've seen so far is we can compete with the squad we've got. And as long as we can stay injury-free, I think we've got a great chance of finishing in the top half.
Yeah, I was going to mention briefly Ross Jenkins. Ross Jenkins is a very considered man. He I won't say he doesn't smile, but he's very serious. He wants the best for his team. He doesn't mind being the underdog. He's said that a few times, that he's happy to go in under the radar. And I think, even though you've had these wins against Hartlepool and the 4-0 drubbing of Boreham Wood, I think that being the underdog, dare I say, it suits you a little bit?
Absolutely, we love being the underdog. We've had 7 years of teams underestimating us. When we were in the playoffs last season in the National League South, everyone thought, we're not good enough. We're a small club, part-time. It was only as we got to the end of the season where we started to get some decent results that people started opening their eyes and saying, actually, this Oxford City team are not bad. And the same this season, everyone was saying, City will finish bottom, they haven't got a big enough budget, they haven't got any experience. We've got the young manager, Ross, 32 years of age, with no experience at that level. And after the first 3 games, I think a lot of people thought, actually, we're right here. And then since those first 3 games, but we have to remember we lost to Aldershot, Rochdale, and Chesterfield.
Yeah.
I mean, what a start for us. I mean, who picked those games out as our first 3 games?
And apart from Aldershot, which was an eye-opening game, apart from Aldershot, you were well in the Rochdale and Chesterfield game. In fact, the Chesterfield manager said he couldn't believe that they actually got out of that game with the 3 points.
We were gutted against Chesterfield. I think their winning goal was offside, or the build-up to it was offside, and we at least deserved a point in that game. And we went down by 1 goal to Chesterfield and 1 goal to Rochdale. But in those games, even though we lost them, we could see that we were getting up to speed. And I think it took our players 3 games really to get used to the level, because it is much faster, it's more physical. You haven't got as much time on the ball. And we have to remember, we've played those games without Zach McEachran. And Zach was one of the players of the season last year. And without Zach in the team, it does change a little bit how we have to play. Zach's coming back now, so when he's back fully fit again, who knows what we can do.
I know Darryl's got a few questions as well around the rise, so I'll hand over to Darryl just to continue this.
I'm just fascinated, Paul, on the rise. But what was it like when you had that 4-0 up in the playoff to get into the league? What was going through your mind at that stage?
Before half-time.
It was surreal because we took the lead pretty early on, and we thought, well, that's a bit early to take the lead because we've got a long way to go to defend that. And second goal went in, third goal went in. It seemed almost every attack we were going to score. We could have been 5 or 6 up, I think, at half-time. Yeah. And when it was 4-0 at half-time, we went into the bar, and we all was looking at each other saying, what's just happened? And it's like, did we play well, or did St Albans not turn up? And I think it was probably a bit of both, actually. Maybe the way we played didn't give them the chance. When we saw their lineup and their star player, Sean Jeffers, who scored 30 goals, was on the bench, we thought, well, that's a good start for us, the fact he's not playing, because he was always a danger. Going in at half-time 4-0 up, we thought, the game must be over now. Even Oxford City can't give up 4 goals. I've seen us give away 3-goal lead on 3 or 4 occasions, but I've never seen us give away a 4-goal lead yet. And the second half was surreal because it was just the team were going through the motions. It was just sit behind the ball, just play it around, don't give them any chances. And I think everybody in the audience was just saying, how long's left? It was just a pointless second half. And I think for BT Sport, it was a dreadful final because they'd like it to go to extra time and penalties, which all the others did, didn't they?
Absolutely.
All the others did, and ours was at 4-0 at half-time, and the second half was rubbish. And for us, it was great because we had no heart attacks, we had no nervousness, that last minute when you're 1 goal up to worry about. We had none of that, and when the final whistle went, there was no pitch invasion, and I think that was because it was a foregone conclusion for so long. I mean, if it had been a last-minute winner, I think everybody would have gone on the pitch. But nobody went on the pitch at all, and it was amazing. And I know we did say to the supporters, don't go onto the pitch. They never listened, did they?
But, not normally.
but nobody went on the pitch. And I think people even said, what is wrong with these Oxford City supporters? Aren't they happy? But I think it was because it was so long. It was an hour earlier that we went 4 goals in front, that it was a foregone conclusion. But that's how we like the finals to be. You don't want one of these close ones with a last-minute winner. It's not good for your heart, is it?
It's almost like they were in a state of shock that you actually got that lead and kept that lead, and it became a bit of a canter towards the back end, I suppose.
And what was brilliant was Ross changed the tactics at half-time. I said, right, we scored 4 goals. We don't need to score another goal now. Let's just make sure we don't let any goals in. And if we get the opportunity to put more goals in, then fair enough. But let's just keep the lead because if you can go the first 10 minutes of the second half and it's still 4-0, and another 10 minutes it's still 4-0, you've got it under control. And it was a brilliant performance. And I think Ross and his team, obviously we forget about Andy and Foz, the other coaches, tactically they got it 100% perfect I think we played our 2 best games in the semi-final and the final. We got them right for when it mattered.
I think I remember talking to you after that game, Paul, and it didn't stop. Straight after that, you were looking to how you're going to go about in the new league. What was that like, that sort of transitional period and getting new players in? Was that an easy job, or was that quite a difficult thing to do?
There's quite a lot to do. So the first thing to do is to think about the playing squad for the next season. And because we'd gone all the way through to the final, the other clubs had had a week or two's head start on us. They were already planning for next season, and we were still unsure what division we were in. In fact, up until the final whistle of the final, we could have been in the North Division, the South Division, or the National League Prem, any one of 3 divisions. So it was really impossible for us to decide on any players at all, because going into the National League North would have been impossible for our players from London. I don't know how they would do that. But going into the National League Premier brings a different issue, because obviously players are paid more money at the level. So we couldn't really do anything until we knew where we were. So once the final was out of the way, first thing we have to do is look at the budget. What do we need budget-wise to stay in the division? What can we afford to pay? And that's the most important thing. What can we afford as a club? I mean, we've never broke the bank for bringing players in. I mean, our budget last season was a mid-table budget. The players gelled together so well that it put us into a position way above where we should have been. And that's what we aim to do again this season. And we've looked at what have other teams done that have got promoted, and how have they fared. And what we've seen is a lot of teams have gone to the full-time model, spent a lot of money, and come straight back down again. maybe they changed their players, maybe they changed their playing style. What we decided to do is we'll keep the core of the team together with some additions, because the team are not that bad. They've got promotion out of that division. We've done really well in the FA Cup against higher teams, so let's trust the lads we've got. And we only lost one player out of the squad from last season that we probably would have kept. Clardy Lolos went to Crawley Town. He went up to League Two. Everybody else is the same squad that played in the final, and we've added a few players. We've got Nia Kirby we've brought in, and we've obviously got Ollie Sanderson back up front, and we've brought in Pierre Foncal from Dartford. So we haven't really added very many players. So the budget has gone up a little bit, but it's not gone up massively. Slightly improved the team, but we are one of the lowest budgets in the division. But it's not just about budget; it's about putting a team together that can get enough points to keep you up. And I think so far, I think we've just about got it right. I think we've competed at every game, so I think in terms of the playing staff, I think we're okay. We're in a situation where the budget's the right amount of money and we've got a good squad. It's just whether we can keep everyone fit, because the games we're on at the moment, Saturday, Tuesday,
thick and fast, aren't they?
It's lots of games, so that it's keeping everybody fit is the main thing. The other thing we had to do, of course, was to look at the infrastructure. Part of Justin and I's plan, we had a 10-year plan when we came in, was as well as on the field, it's off the field as well, for the development of the stadium. And this year was supposed to be the year we looked at redeveloping the stadium to make it bigger, because it's not really big enough for the level we're at. It's okay for the number of supporters we're getting at the moment. We have 1,400, 1,500 on a really good game. It can hold a lot more than that, but we need more seats, we need more cover, and we have to be Football League ready as well. When you're in the National League, you have to get your stadium ready for the Football League, even though you're not going up. You have to be ready.
You might do.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
So by March, we have to put a certain number of seats in. We've got to have 4,500 capacity. We've got to have 2,000 under the cover. There's a few things you have to do with the ground to make it Football League ready, so that if you do get promoted, you can play on it. The only thing we don't have to do is change the 3G at the moment. But if we went up, we'd have to put grass down. And we have to sign to say we would do that if we went up, because obviously no 3G is allowed in the Football League. I don't know why. We don't get any injuries at all on our 3G because of the playing surface.
I'll tell you what, you're probably more likely to get injuries on that old grass pitch at Oxford City, because that was a dreadful surface at times.
It was a terrible surface, wasn't it? Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. So we've put a couple of new stands in. We've got some more infrastructure to put together. We've put a bar and a cafe in for the away supporters, because we've got some segregation to do. Some of our games will be segregated now. We can choose which ones to segregate and which ones not to. Chesterfield brought 700 or 800 fans down, so that we need to segregate those ones. And when we get the likes of Oldham Athletic and Southend, they'll be bringing lots of supporters as well. So, but it was good when we've had other games where we haven't segregated, and it was last 2 or 3 home games now we haven't segregated, and we've had some really good atmosphere. And it's really good that at this level you can still have fans mingling together, and there isn't any trouble. Because obviously at Football League you still get occasional problems. But so that's really good. But there's quite a lot of work to do infrastructure-wise, but we'll do it as and when we can afford to do the changes. I think the biggest change is putting the curtains down when the game starts, because you can't drink and watch the match now, which is a nightmare for our long-standing supporters that like to have a pint on match day.
Absolutely.
You have to shut the blinds on, so you can't see the pitch whilst drinking a pint of beer, which is an annoying rule, but what can you do?
I would say that Oxford City's performances aren't driving anybody to drink at the moment, because they're so good. Paul, it's been fantastic to hear a really good insight from you on Oxford City, and again, as I said to Ryan earlier, we're really proud of what you've done as a club. You're flying the flag for non-league football. We've got obviously Oxford United in League One. There's a really good relationship between Oxford United and Oxford City. But I'm really looking forward to the rest of this season with you, Paul, because we're going to cover lots of games. We'll hopefully get highlights from every single home game, and I just have a sneaky feeling, Woodsy, that they'll do okay this year. I think it's been a fantastic start, and 7 games unbeaten. Can't believe it. Oldham Athletic away on Saturday is just crazy.
It is
Paul,
brilliant, isn't
thank
it?
you very much for everything, and we will keep tabs of how you're getting on, and we'll probably bring you in again around Christmas time to see if you're still in that top half or up in the top half.
Again.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
That was Paul Lyon there, from co-owner of Oxford City Football Club. I have to be honest, that was so fascinating we could have talked all night, to be fair. That was brilliant. I
normally
love
do, to
that.
be fair.
We normally do.
Yeah,
I think that's about it for our first episode of OxSports Unleashed. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage. I hope we've come across as well. Obviously, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can just search OxSports Unleashed and subscribe. That will be absolutely fantastic. Tap the notification button. You will obviously get notified when we're next on. But it will be every Thursday, pretty much, from 8 o'clock. And that was OxSports Unleashed. Please join us again next time when we'll unleash another Ox Sports. Good night from me.
See ya.